Okay, so it seems like with Wuthering Waves version 2.4, things have been going pretty smoothly. I mean, the game has been running absolutely fine for me. It has been struggling for some people over on the PlayStation though, and other devices, which have been struggling with some of the new kind of graphical changes and everything like that. And alongside this is a couple of other bugs which have been going on in the game, which has actually been pointed out by Kuro Games recently that they fixed and now patched in the game too, with a little bit of maintenance, literally just last night, I'm pretty sure. And it's pretty crazy to see, and I wanted to talk about it and kind of talk about, some of the changes that Wuthering Waves have been making and how quick they are to actually make a change to these bugs, because we've had it before, a lot in the past, and I feel like Wuthering Waves has actually gone pretty unbugged over the past couple of months, or at least the past couple of updates, because again, you remember like during version 1.0 it was pretty terrible. There was a lot of bugs coming out every single day. There's a lot of mistranslation. There was a lot of problems with the game, which granted did get fixed very, very quickly by Kuro Games whenever they noticed. But the fact that they were there in the first place was a little bit of an issue at one point, just due to the fact of it happening so often. But once 2.0 came around, it seems like they kind of got it together a little bit more, and there's been a lot less bugs, there's been a lot less, problems with the game, which is good to see. But this one is pretty interesting, because I saw this post come up from Naoshiro saying, PSA, there's an issue with Cartethia's skill damage that will be solved during short maintenance, and this maintenance was from the 20th at 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. On the same day, which again, obviously, we get a little bit of compensation for that, so you should be able to see that in your mailbox. And essentially, they say compensation eligibility, all you need to do is create a character and unlock the mails. And so essentially, they go into the fixes here, and they say they fixed an issue where the buff crit damage is increased granted upon activating the first node of Resonator Cartethia's resonance chain, crowned destined by fate, may fail to take effect when certain skills from Resonator Flood Release hits target. So this is mainly an issue if you did get that resonance change thing for Cartethyia. If you do have copies of Cartethyia, you might be actually getting a little bit less damage, or at least seeing a little bit less damage from her, which is pretty bad, especially whenever you're spending that amount of money on a character like that and trying to get copies, and they're not even doing the damage that it says they do. But obviously that has now been fixed, so if you do have the resonance chain copy for Cartethyia, then you should be seeing a little bit of an increase of damage from her, which again is really nice to see. And obviously they say they also fix an issue where the buff, the targets take 40% more damage from Flood Release, granted upon activating the 6th node of Resonator Cartethia's resonance chain, freedom found in Storm's Wake, may fail to take effect when certain skills from Resonator's Flood Release hits the target. So that's another issue as well. The target takes 40% more damage from Flood Release. Sometimes it won't happen apparently, which obviously is a big issue, especially if you did get C6 or whatever you want to call it, S6 of Cartethyia. And obviously you keep going on to fix this an issue when activating Crown Destined by Fate. The first node of Cartethia's resonance chain can cause a buff crit damage increase to unexpectedly trigger by certain skills from Resonator Cartethyia, which it's a bit of a problem. I mean, I don't really know what they did with this, but obviously me personally, I have a one copy of Cartethyia, so again, I should have been seeing some of these issues going on, but I don't think I really noticed too much. Again, I don't really look too much into the damage and the actual game mechanics themselves. I'm not really one of those persons. I will just pull the character. If they do a lot of damage and they're doing pretty good for me, then I probably won't bother too much. But again, I haven't really noticed anything too bad, but it seems like it could be getting better for some of us that did get those extra copies. They go on to say, fix an issue where freedom found in Storm's Wake, the 6th node of the Resonator chain, can cause the buff to unexpectedly trigger. So it seems like we've got the same issue for the S6 as the S1, except it's for like a different kind of effect. Obviously this one being crit damage is increased, and then this one being target takes 40% more damage. And then they said following these fixes, the phrase crit damage increased will not appear in the first node description of Resonator Cartethia's resonance chain, but the actual node effects will remain unchanged, which is very interesting. I don't really know what they mean by that. I think they're just like, they're not even kind of making a change to the character itself. They're actually just changing the wording of the Resonator chain itself, which I think like kind of not giving people the opportunity to, you know, take it back or whatever. I don't really know how you'd be able to do that, but again, you know, obviously a lot of people have pulled on, you know, an extra kind of copy, thinking they're getting a crit damage increase or whatever, but you know, maybe it's not as much as, you know, they thought it would do. Obviously they said here that it won't actually change, like it remains unchanged, it just doesn't feature in the description of the first node, which means I don't really know if they meant to have crit damage in there in the first place or not. I'm not sure, but again, you know, people obviously weren't aware of that, and you know, I wasn't aware of that whenever I actually pulled, well, not pulled for the second, I actually got the second, or no, the first node on the coral shop, so it doesn't really matter too much for me, but I can see how people who spent, you know, hundreds pulling on this might be a little bit annoyed by that change. Obviously, Narashia says to check this notice, go to main menu, notice and games it. As a day one player to this day, this is the time that I'm really disappointed with the performance. The game is really laggy to the point where the exploration in the map is not fun. Don't know what they did, but I hope they fix that. And I think there's a lot of people that have been saying that issue as well. I mean, that's just another separate issue that's been going on in the game, is the overall performance and the ability to actually run the game on some other devices has been a little bit of an issue for some people as well, which again, I hope they do go ahead and fix that, because they did actually make an announcement saying that, you know, there was an issue with this going on and that they tried to fix it, but it seems like it's still not fixed for a lot of people. I think that's mainly to do with the PlayStation audience and also maybe a couple of mobile players as well. And I think this is mainly to do with the fact of they've changed around some of their graphic settings and stuff like that, to do with, like, you know, for example, the leaves. They have like interactable leaves with physics whenever you use like a skill or whatever, which could obviously, you know, make a you know, a device process a little bit more, which can be pretty heavy on that device. So again, yeah, it's kind of interesting, and yeah, I mean, people have been having issues with that one. They said maybe my Cartethyia is cracked, as I didn't feel like there was anything wrong with her. They said, you know, so that's why my Cartethyia feels like they don't deal high damage, which could be true, you never know. They said, you've been telling me that my cart has been cleaving through the game, has been nerfed. Obviously, you know, people were replying to that one saying, are you slow? She just got buffed. Her first node and her max level ascension, 80% crit damage plus 40% crit damage bonus for every stack of erosion for enemies. Both didn't work in many situations, like they were just turned off without notice. Imagine now that it's fixed. He said, I mean nerfed, as she hasn't been strong as I thought. I should have said has been nerfed all this time. Oh, okay, so they're saying that their Cartethyia has been nerfed this entire time. So again, they've essentially like kind of buffed the character here, I guess. Obviously, they're saying why remove the crit damages increased from the description if the node's effects won't change. Won't it be misleading? How will someone know the buff? Obviously, yeah, people are replying to that one as well, saying looks like a mistranslation in the English version. The JP notice says critical damage increased from S1, just won't show up on Cartethia's status screen, but it will still work as normal. No mention of the description being removed. So thank you for the information. Still is a bit of a shame. I was seeing a nice 370 plus crit damage on her stats during the buff, which, yeah, it's very interesting. And obviously, as I said, Kuro Games just had issues with mistranslation and kind of translation in general whenever it comes to this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just an interesting situation. Obviously, you know, it's a change that they've made, and you know, some people are happy, some people aren't happy, but I feel like Cartethyia is going to get a little bit stronger with you know, obviously a lot of the changes coming out, with there being more chances to use these effects and it not just randomly just disappearing for no reason, which I think is very cool. So I'm definitely gonna be giving this a go in the game now that it's, you know, been out and we've gotten, you know, the maintenance for it, and also we've got the maintenance compensation. So yeah, we can enjoy that compensation as well, spend it on our lupa or maybe on another copy of Cartethyia. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think that, you know, this is a big issue? Do you think, you know, there's any big changes that you wanted to talk about? Again, I'm very interested. And yeah, go to GameSubs, use my code Keza, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all.